Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're back to work on the Axial Wraith budget build. We got some parts in, we got the transmission, the front servo mounting bracket, and drive shafts, and we're also going to try to fabricate a battery tray to get the battery up front. So let's get started. Alright guys, so this is where we were when we left off. We had the axles installed, shocks installed, links installed, and the front steering and servo arm installed. I said I was going to order the transmission, drive shafts, and servo mount, and I was going to order red beadlock wheels, but since I'm going to do some upgrades to the Remo Hobby anyway, I'm just going to take the wheels off the Remo and use them on this, which is actually Redcat Gen 7 wheels anyway, which is the Redcat Gen 7 axles that we're running. So these are the wheels I forgot I got with those axles. So for right now, to save money, since we're going to do some upgrades to the Remo, I'm just going to use these plastic bead locks on the project. But we did get our all-metal transmission. I did go ahead and spend the extra money. I figured it was worth at least getting the good transmission. It's 30 bucks instead of 20, so it's not like it's crazy expensive. Have had good luck with these. One cool thing I noticed about this that my other one in the Amazon crawler did not have the cover, but this actually unscrews so that you can get in there and tighten up your slipper. I thought that was kind of cool. But this is completely enclosed, so you don't get dirt and debris in there, which we've had a few little issues with the Amazon crawler doing that, making a noise, but it was no big deal. But this is the transmission for SCX 10.2 Axial, so it should bolt right up to our plate. It has the small pattern where it's bigger on one end and smaller on the other. So there's our metal transmission. We also got a Redcat axle mount servo plate. I don't know why it's gold. In the picture it showed it was silver, but whatever, we'll go with it. So that's the servo bracket for the front mount. And then of course we got the Hobbypark adjustable. Well, they're not adjustable, but there's quite a bit. They're from 105 to 105 millimeter length. So that's quite a bit of travel that you can get out of these, and these are only 16 bucks or something like that. All three of these parts came off of Amazon. The links will be in the description. I'm going to go ahead and mount the servo and servo plate up front and mount the transmission and the drive shafts. I don't see any problems with this stuff fitting. Last time I talked about removing the front piece that was inside this little servo tray and ESC holder. I said I was going to have to cut it in 4 spots to remove it. It actually just, there's 4 screws coming in from the bottom, and this actually just unscrewed, so I didn't have to cut anything. I can put it back if I want to later. But I was able to remove it so that when our servo goes up in there, it's going to have plenty of room to travel now. So that was pretty cool. I didn't have to cut anything. So if I want to put it back, I'll be able to do that. I did get the crossbar put in between just to stiffen up the chassis since we removed this piece. And what I was thinking for battery location, I'm just going to have the battery stand up vertical like this, right in this area as far forward as I can get it. So right in there. And how I'm going to do that is there are 2 screws, or 2 holes rather, one right here on the chassis and one right there on the chassis. And what I'm going to do is take this piece of aluminum L channel, and I'm going to mount it just like that to where I can set my battery in there, put a Velcro strap around the L channel and around this bar that I installed. and that'll hold my battery in place. If I need to put anything on the ends to keep the battery from sliding around, I can, or I can just put Velcro on the battery and this, and that the Velcro will hold it plus the strap. And the way I did that was I took a piece of tape, measured the distance that I wanted, and then I laid the tape on there, marked where the holes were with a Sharpie, and now I can just lay this on my aluminum piece, drill the hole there and there, and just cut it to the length that I want, and I think that's going to work out good. So let me get those parts installed, get this cut, and I'll show you the finished product. Alright guys, we got almost everything installed. I got it on the wheels now, we got the transmission installed, we got the front servo installed. I've just got some temporary screws in there right now because I didn't have any, and the servo mount did not come with any. They're 4mm. Got the steering servo hooked up, all that centered. So that plan for removing this tray did actually help, because that servo goes right up in there now, so that gives us all that room we wanted. And here's the template that I made for the battery, where I just basically measured the distance between the two holes that were on the tray, and then I cut this piece of aluminum bracket, drilled 2 holes in it, and put a piece of Velcro on the bottom there, and I'm going to put Velcro on the battery so that when I stick the battery in, it holds in like that, and then I can put the Velcro strap around the bar and the battery, and it'll hold it in place right there, so it'll actually sit on this L bracket that we put in. So that was pretty easy to fabricate. I just cut it to the length that I wanted, drilled 2 holes, ran bolts through and put nuts on the bottom right there, so there's just bolted through the cage. That's where holes were already existing. Really happy with how that servo goes up in there, and we have clearance for that now. I did have it hooked up to one of my other ESCs. I don't have it hooked up to the 1080 yet because that's programmable, and I have to solder battery leads and motor connections on that, and I'm not sure where I'm going to put everything. I know the battery's going to go up front. I still have another one of these boxes that I used on the Amazon crawler where it's up front, and that worked out great, but I just don't have room really to put it anywhere. I don't know if I'm going to run an interior or not, so it's not really going to fit in there. I thought about putting it back here, but it doesn't really fit in there sideways. It's not that I'd be adding a lot of weight back here, because it's just going to be the ESC and receiver. So I could add it all the way to the back right here, and the only thing that I would probably have to lengthen, like I'm sure my motor wires would reach back that far. So I don't think the motor and the steering servo, you know, I'm sure the steering servo I could wire it down through. If I have to put an extension on the steering servo, that's fine. But I would definitely have to extend the battery lead, because even if I put it in where the battery lead's facing this way, that's still only going to get me halfway, and so I'm going to have to add some extension to the ESC. Let me find my other one. Should be laying here somewhere. You can see this ESC just has a short little pigtail on it for the battery, so I'd have to lengthen that. But other than that, I did have it working on this. This is just a 1060 non-programmable ESC, so I made sure the steering was centered and all that. Made sure the motor was good and the pinion gear mesh was good, all that. And this is the Injora 550 motor, the 35 turn. It fits in there good. Oddly enough, it's black and red like the rest of the theme. So that's what we got so far, guys. I guess next video will be electronics, since everything else is pretty much done. Just need to figure out, I like having my stuff real nice and tidy. You know, I got the battery up here on this one, everything's in the box. It's minimal. I want to do the same thing with this one. If I have to put an extension on the steering servo, I will, just so I can run it along the frame, maybe run some heat shrink over it so it's black, run it down through here where you don't see it. Possibly get an interior. I think they're plastic, so that wouldn't really affect anything. But then again, if we're going to run the Jeep body over there, we don't need to worry about the interior. But I still want to probably cover this with a piece of foam or something. The foam board that we use like in the Jeep. So that's it, guys. She's almost ready to roll. Next video will be wherever I can find to put the electronics that I'm happy with. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video series, and we'll see you next time.